All right, good morning, everybody. Hope everyone had a restful evening. Jumping into Wednesday here, hump day, middle of the week. We do have some economic data today. What the heck? The housing data we were supposed to get, and I think they just pulled it. But nevertheless, so we got your Fed minutes a little bit later, around that afternoon time frame, 2 p.m. You also have Fed member Williams speaking later today. You got a 20-year bond auction at 1. Crude oil inventories at 10:30. Some GDP data from the Atlanta Fed. Overall, the markets are gapping up this morning. You can see that the S&P had a pretty nasty close yesterday, closing down at 660.08. We're gapping up about $2 right now in the pre-market. So I would like to see that gap up hold and build some momentum. Obviously, the critical levels. Excuse me. Whoa. Obviously, the critical levels that we need to watch are going to be these two neckline areas. So you have this longer term kind of trend channel that we've been chopping in. And then you obviously have your head and shoulders neckline. So the head and shoulders has triggered, but it has not confirmed just yet. So the market is on watch for a bearish potential trend change. We want to give it the benefit of the doubt. It is holding technical support, but we need to watch it very, very closely. Okay? So that's what's in store for our S&P 500 indices. US dollar is ripping right now in the pre-market. You can see the Dixie's breaking out yet again to a new high, gunning for that daily 200 moving average. What's interesting, even though the US dollar is ripping, gold is also ripping, so a little bit of a divergence. That being said, I would give gold the benefit of the doubt. Gold has formed a 7 and 20 bullish cross of the key moving averages here. Often you get that sell side pressure, which is exactly what happened. People are now buying into that. And gold could potentially now rip all the way up to this area now. Call it 4,200 and change. This trend line is going to be key. If it gets through that area, then she will be off to the races. So gold's looking a little bit more constructive at this point in time. Actually, it's looking pretty constructive. Can't lie. I can't lie. All right, let me open up my other brokerage here. We'll start doing our scan. So a couple stocks have reported earnings here, guys. So we'll discuss a few of them. Dicom DY gapping up on earnings, breaking out of a bull flag pattern. Looking pretty decent from a technical long standpoint. Ticker DY. Again, I wouldn't chase the gap up. I would watch for a bit of a sell side profit taking in the morning, and then if this comes down to fill its gap, it's probably a little bit of a bounce trade. But very, very strong breakout there. Let's see what else is moving here. Let's look at Target here. So Target also reporting earnings, TGT. Stock is gapping down. So despite Target beating on the EPS, it missed on its revenue. And Target basically is warning us of a little bit of a profit outlook. So their profit margins are kind of decreasing just a touch here, showing that maybe the lower end consumer is starting to, I guess, weaken in a sense. Let's look at Lowe's. Lowe's this morning has been very strong. This stock has been beaten up to a pulp, and now the stock is absolutely ripping to the upside. Had a huge amount of volume yesterday ahead of earnings. They beat on their quarterly sales. They lowered their full year profit forecast. Lowe's quarterly sales grew year over year, but the company lowered its full year profit outlook as it cited economic uncertainty. Rival Home Depot, which reported a day earlier, also reported a full year profit outlook, also lowered its full year profit outlook. Referred to a tough housing market. They expect total sales of 86 billion, up from its previous expectation of 84.5 to 85.5 because of its recent acquisition. All right. So very, very big stock. Obviously, it's still under your daily 200 moving average. That's the big area that you need to recapture. Bulls want to maintain above your 7. Right now, you're trading a couple points higher than your 7-day moving average. I'm expecting this one to also get sold into and then build a little bit of a flag pattern to move higher. Not a bad print, but still in a larger term downtrend. You're still breaking structure there, so should be a little bit of a concern. All right, Oklo. Oklo is gapping up this morning, guys. So there's news on Oklo. Oklo Siemens Energy to expedite power conversion system procurement for commercial plant. Oklo and Siemens Energy signed binding contract for design and delivery of conversion systems for Oklo's Aurora powerhouse. Interesting. Okay, so that's positive for Oklo. Let's look at sympathy bid in SMR. Yeah, SMR is naturally going to catch a sympathy bid. Let's look at uranium here. Uranium right now is gapping up a little bit, so that's good to see. That certainly will help things. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Goldman Sachs doing well. Semrush Holdings. Let's look at TJX. TJX. Larry Summers resigns from OpenAI board after the release of the emails with Epstein. Ooh. All right, TJX making a nice move off of its earnings. Stock is up a few percent, gapping up, basically beating top and bottom line. I would say that this company has room to at least run to this high pivot that I'm watching. So call it 151-ish, 152 maybe. Probably already hit there in the pre-market. I haven't checked. Let's see. Yeah, so it already hit above that area in the pre-market. So I would expect that one to probably retest that zone. That's for sure. Shit, I got it at 18 cents. 18. All right. Let's begin here. Materials right now, guys, is seeing some strength as well. MP stock is gapping up. Let's see if there's news. MP Materials partners with the U.S. Department of War to establish a joint venture with the Saudi Arabia Mining Company. Aha. Partnering with the Department of War. That'll always help a stock. BlackRock PGR. Lazy Boy. Holy, Lazy Boy ain't so lazy today. Lazy Boy also gapping up on its earnings. ALB, Albemarle Marley, lithium-based stocks continuing to squeeze here. How's LAC doing? LAC is probably ready for a breakout here. Looks like it could be ready for a big move. Unity Software also making another move to the high side. What's happening with Unity? Let's pour ourselves some more coffee here. What is the news on Unity? Company announced it would be working with Epic Games to bring Unity games into Fortnite. Ooh. That could squeeze, guys. Fortnite is a cult. Fortnite is a gaming cult, guys. That's probably going to rip in the pre-market as well. That would not surprise me. You're getting some increased buy side pressure in some of these other high-flying crypto computer data center AI stocks here. You can see Bitfarms breaking out here to the high side. Let's look at Wolf, TeraWolf breaking out to the high side here. IREN trying to make a move here. Let's look at Cypher, MARA. Yeah, they're all showing some structure here. Although the dollar is still very, very strong. That's a bit of a concern. A bit of a concern. Hmm. Data vault's just lingering. Let's see what else we got going on. Oh yeah, Plug Power, guys. Plug is getting wrecked. Plug Power is getting wrecked. They announced a debt offering. Stock is crumbling in the pre-market here. Yeah. Stuff now on Plug, guys. That is a horrific breakdown and confirmed breakdown today. Very likely. Oh my goodness gracious me. Plug Power. Feel bad for that. It's going down. And not in a good way. You were in Plug long? Ouch. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, so it's a debt offering on Plug. I mean, there's going to be some support levels. Really, the only one that I see today we're already trading into. This little bit of a trend line. Other than that, I mean, it's a really, really tough chart to trade now. I got to go to a weekly time frame here. Again, if the market can hold steady, it may catch a bit of a bid. But this is about it. This trend line going back to 2017, 2019. You know, you really don't want to see it lose this breakout bar here. Why this breakout bar is important is because that was kind of your breakout neckline. You can see price action broke out here of this neckline on some decent volume, on a much higher degree of volume than what you were trading for the last, what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 weeks. So that was your breakout candle of the bullish inverted head and shoulders. So you don't want to see price action lose this bar. That's for sure. If you lose that bar, it opens us up to that friggin', I know it sounds crazy, but 15 cents. Gosh. Um, that being said, I would consider scalping Plug into this 155 105 area. What is the low of this candle? The low of that candle is 152. So I would look for a 152 potential scalping opportunity on plug if you're inclined to trade that volatility. All right, we also have some interesting movement happening in the energy market right now, guys. You got Valero getting absolutely slapped right now. So Valero broke out yesterday, huge volume, daily chart, impulse candle, and now it's getting slapped. I don't know if there's news on VLO. Let me just double check. No, I'm not really seeing anything other news, so interesting. Again, I guess crude oil is weak. That's why. So no news, just crude oil breaking down here. So crude oil continues to remain in this choppy range. Getting very interesting here on crude, guys. I don't know what the hell crude wants to do here, but it's looking pretty weak on the overall downtrend. I still think that there might be one more pop-up. There's a lot of support down here, but damn, that chart pattern is looking nasty on crude, that's for sure. Nasty. All right, let's see what else we got. Natural gas is actually performing very, very well today, guys. So someone was looking to short this yesterday. I said just wait. It's looking like it's going to give us another high. Looks like nat gas is going to target this 52-week high pivot. So I'm not ready to climb in on the long side, personally. I would look for a little bit more softening in price, but inventories tomorrow, if they spike it, I would consider a short. But nat gas is too strong to short right now. You might be able to scalp it on a double top today, but it looks very, very poised for a little bit of a new high incoming for natural gas. So I would try to avoid that name on the short side. All right, let's see what else we got shaking and moving here. Quantum stocks are kind of flat. UAMY, that's moving. Dragonfly drone stocks are seeing some follow through. Semiconductors are bouncing today ahead of NVIDIA earnings. LiDAR stocks are seeing some bids. So it's a mixed bag of tricks again today. Do have the indices green, so you want to favor obviously upside in majority of stocks. Rising tide lifts all boats, but the question is, are the markets going to stay green? Crypto is under a little bit of pressure. Dollar once again is back to the highs, trying to break out. So crypto was strong yesterday, had a nice bounce. We can see this Bitcoin chart bouncing quite nicely, putting in a little bit of reversal candle, and now it's seeing a bit of a retrace. A bit of a retrace lower. I still think it's in an interesting area. Ethereum as well. Getting a solid bounce and then getting slapped off that 7-day moving average. So once again, crypto stocks or the actual underlying commodities itself are still remaining under some near-term pressure. Okay. NVIDIA still is holding technical support back to these prior all-time high pivots. A lot of support there, but don't know how much the stock is going to move. Again, you might get some front-running accumulation considering it has sold off from the highs. You look at how much NVIDIA has pulled back here, and that was a 15% decline from the highs in the world's largest company. That's a big move, guys. That's why the market is so down. When the largest company pulls back 15% from the highs, it's hard for the indices to really maintain their gains. So I think you're going to probably get some front-running accumulation since it has pulled back. We are seeing a little bit of that this morning. All right. So far in the pre-market, the IWM&Qs are kind of neck and neck. SPY's lagging a little bit here. Amazon's up 0.46%. You got NVIDIA obviously leading the charge to the upside. That's up 1.76%. Apple right now is lagging slightly negative in the pre-market. You got Google acting very, very well. Google showing some strength, up 1.38%. Meta lagging a little bit here. That is down slightly in the pre-market. And then you got Tesla up about 1.23% in the pre-market. Netflix, which has been strong over the last couple sessions, Netflix is seeing a little bit of consolidation right now, just basically slightly negative in the pre-market. So we'll see how that one wants to shape up. Running through some of these financials, Bank of America slightly green, JP Morgan slightly green. Let's look at Wells Fargo slightly green, Citigroup slightly green, regional banks are slightly green. Biotech is still in a raging bull trend. Getting a little bit lofty up here, but friggin' strong as ever. Let's look at retail stocks, XRT. Retail stocks have been absolutely pummeled, and they continue to remain in a bit of a bearish breakdown trend on your daily chart time frame. All right, let's see what else we got shaking and moving. We went through some of the biggest losers in the NASDAQ. Wix is seeing a nasty fall here, down over 10% on its earnings report. QFIN Holdings, ticker QFIN, that's seeing some distribution. Interesting. Capping down. As you can see, the S&P is breaking down right now because the dollar's just too strong at this point in time. Some China equities are under a little bit of mixed pressure here. Baidu, after seeing a big reversal yesterday, falling a little bit. Let's look at IQ. That one's still staying fairly strong. BABA showing a little bit of resiliency. TME, that stock is yet again still going through some distribution. I like this down here, guys. I want to see it maybe sweep the lows one more time. But Baidu is building a base down here, guys. Or sorry, TME is building a base down here. I think this is getting ready for a potential swing trade entry. All right, TME. Not ready yet, but it's getting there. It's getting close. It's tempting. It's tempting me to go long, that's for sure. All right, let's see. Let's look at JD real quick. Another name, guys, that I've just been waiting, although it's getting into an interesting fundamental and technical level. I still want to see it fill that weekly chart gap fill. I've just been waiting patiently for JD, but hasn't given me the buy signal just yet. And you can see the S&P on my left here is selling off, and it's one reason only, guys. Look at this US dollar just ripping right now. It's going to apply some pressure to the broad market here. That's crazy. Wow. Big mover. Big mover. Hmm. It's a crazy dollar pump, guys. That is just insane. Holy moly, look at this thing rip here. It's just melting the S&P right now. Wow. US trade balance came in better than expected. Minus 61.3 billion. Consensus came in at minus 59.6. Hmm. Interesting. You are seeing XYZ, Block Square. Did have an initial spike there on news, guys. So you can see XYZ spike to the upside on some pre-market volume. Does look like a news candle there. Let me just see what the news. Block shares are trading higher after the company said it will announce a 5 billion increase to its stocks repurchase program at its investor day event. Okay, so that's a positive for the company, guys. A nice little buyback program. So Block does have its investor conference today. So we'll see what happens there. Keep that a ticker on watch. Markets are giving up a lot of the price action here from that US dollar just roaring right now. Let's see if gold is reacting. Gold's not really reacting to the US dollar. Interesting. Quite interesting, that's for sure. Hmm. Yeah, that US dollar is roaring right now, guys. That's why that S&P sold. Literally, it's just that dollar. Wow. Crazy. It's definitely coming into a little bit of resistance up here. Daily 200 is still at 99.95. We'll have to watch that closely. That's for sure. And it might have a little bit more upside. All right, let's keep scrolling through here, guys. See what else we have moving. Seeing a little bit of unusual volume in the pre-market. RDW spiking here. Trying to catch a bit of a dead cat technical bounce. Looks like we have some pretty long-term support levels here on RDW. Again, lithium stocks, nuclear stocks, those are acting exceptionally well in the very near term. MP Materials getting that deal from the Saudis and Trump. Most trades. Nokia, ticker NOK, guys, that's seeing some hard distribution today. Nokia falling pretty sharply right now. What was once a crazy stock being chased from the Nvidia shoutout is now getting sold into. QuantumScape down a little bit in the pre-market. BBAI trying to build off of its little reversal yesterday. Serve Robotics still down in the deep dark depths. ENVX trying to bounce a little bit, still under a lot of pressure. SYM still under quite a bit of pressure. Micron's down another 1.3%. Energy stocks taking on the chin today. Seeing a little bit of positivity in some of these rare earth metals. We're also seeing some of these drone stocks trying to bounce. DPRO, UMAC. Interesting. Nice reversal yesterday on Molina Healthcare. These nuclear stocks could run today on the back of that Saudi and US deal. A little bit of a civil nuclear partnership needs to be monitored quite closely. And it is pretty clear that these crypto high computing stocks look a little bit interesting today on the long side, guys. Let's look at iron here. Bitfarms caught a nice bid in the pre-market. It's pulled back quite a bit here, but still acting pretty decently. Let's look at SGML. Sigma Lithium Corp gapping up to the high side, on watch for a bit of a breakout here. Falling wedge pattern on the weekly chart, trying to break out for Sigma Lithium Corp. It's kind of interesting. Good morning, Peter. So not too much, guys, that I'm looking at trading. I mean, you got Plug Power that we identified that key level that I'd look to scalp it into. I need to see it go below that 152 area, that weekly reversal breakout candle. That's where I would trade Plug into. But nasty little gap down. Keep XYZ on watch today, guys. It did announce a little bit of an additional 5 billion share buyback and repurchase program. And the stock did spike up here in the pre-market, as well as it has its investor conference day. So that could be a bit of a catalyst trading event. VFF moving. Let's take a peek. Yeah, VFF looks pretty decent here. Going for another high breakout. The only concern is you're inside that little bit of a topping tail. It does look like it's going to sweep it. I would say that VFF has room to run to, until you get to your next resistance, you've got 420, 425. Let's look at the weekly levels. Yeah, and then this is where you had that waterfall sell-off. So there could be some selling here. You know, a lot of people that entered here right before that waterfall event are now going to be in a break-even environment. So you will likely start to see some sell-side pressure off of that vicinity. So just keep that on watch. You know, it's taken a long time. It's taken almost 2.5 years for VFF now to reach these levels where you had a massive waterfall sell-off. You know, from this low here, we had a 30% decline. So people that didn't sell, that got trapped in here trying to bottom ticket because they saw this big spike, are probably going to look to exit some of their positions. So just keep that level on watch. It's a big level. 420 to 430. All right, what else do we have going on? And your dollar is just so strong today, guys. Your DXY is just so strong. It's crazy. Palantir slightly green in the pre-market. Again, guys, we got to keep on watch. Right now, the dollar is just such a beast intraday. I mean, look at this rally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 10-minute green candles. You're very close to that daily 200 moving average. I'm expecting if the dollar kind of stops this crazy intraday run, it's going to help the markets bounce a little bit here. Okay, but for now, the Dixie's just ripping in a world of its own. Into a bit of resistance here on the dollar, guys. A little previous pivot high. Doesn't mean it has to sell off a lot, but definitely some resistance here. So the market could bounce in this zone. Would not surprise me. Bitcoin's still showing a little bit of weakness. Quantum stocks are mixed, showing a little bit of strength. Let's hear till the open goes. Your dollar is softening up just a touch here. Again, some of the focus, I think, on scalping longs, guys, looking for continuation moves. Your nuclear stocks, SMR is looking pretty decent for a bit of a continuation long. Oklo is looking decent on the back of that Saudi Arabia announcement. Unity Software, I think pullbacks can be bought regarding that acquisition. XYZ, I'm not too sure. Initial pop, I think that it's very oversold down here, right into its investor conference. I think that with their share repurchase program, it could absolutely keep running. You're already seeing Bitfarms catching a nice bid here, guys. So the likes of IREN, Cipher Mining, uh, Wolf, those the likes of those stocks could probably continue to firm up here since they are showing strength. Hmm. Other than that, I mean, we'll just wait and see. I'll see if Plug Power can come into that 152 area where I'd consider scalping on the long side. But markets are under a little bit of pressure to start the session. They are off of the yesterday's closing low. Yesterday's low is basically here at 660.08. That is a nasty little gap fill. Keep the SPY and SPX chart open. Again, if Plug Power comes into any sort of levels, I'll let you know. Watching that, watching XYZ, Bit Farms, watching the dollar, gold, everything here. Natural gas is just ripping up 3.63%, guys. So we might have a nice epic short opportunity tomorrow on the inventory report. I wouldn't try touching it today, um, unless we hit a little bit of a higher deviation move to the upside into that double top area, but we'll see. We will obviously watch natural gas and update you. Alright guys, get ready for the open here. Let's fill up my coffee. Get ready to rock and roll. SPY well off of its pre-market high. Let's see if we get bid up here. You can see the SPX had a hard down close yesterday. Alright, SPY right now is still under a little bit of pressure. Plug Power finding some support. Nasty decline in Bitfarms. Dollar still fading a little bit. You got Microsoft down 0.87. IWM's green, SPY green, QQQ green. Nice little bottoming wick there on SPY. SPY is trying to bounce here just a touch. Lots of weakness so far, guys. You still have Nvidia up 1.5, Google up 1.6, Tesla up 1, Meta down 1.1, Apple down 0.3, Amazon slightly negative. Bitcoin's trying to hold and bounce here, but also looking somewhat vulnerable. Whoops. Let's see if SPY can hold this gap, guys. We are trying to hold yesterday's low. We are right at yesterday's closing bid. JP Morgan still green, Netflix down. What do we got? IWM still green, S&P, SPY, Q's green. Farms got smoked. Plug Power still getting smoked. Nuclear stocks are slightly green. Still some morning distribution for you. Not a bad area for a risk to reward on the long side here, guys. If you sweep this low, I think there's a bit of a call option play on SPY for a nice reversal back higher. I am seeing the dollar getting faded here, so I think that there is a SPY long here, guys. All right, 662 calls on SPY. Oh my goodness, look at that bounce. I didn't even get filled, but 662 calls, guys, look juicy. If you're aggressive, you can take 665's prior day high, but the dollar really breaking down here, that should bode well for the indices in the very short term. Seeing Bitcoin spiking, guys. Bitcoin bouncing sharply off of its pre-market low of 91K. Your dollar is softening quite substantially, so that's the main reason the S&P sold off sharply in the pre-market. And now you can see the dollar is falling pretty sharply right now. So that's going to help these indices, guys. That should be very, very helpful. Plug Power is still bouncing quite nicely. Nvidia still up 1.4. Gold is still holding strength. Nat Gas still holding strength. Interesting. Google absolutely flying here, guys. Up over 2.6%. Baba's green. Interesting. This looks like a strong move, guys. Bitcoin ripping. Bitfarms trying to firm up. Oh my goodness. SPY's bounce. Where I wanted to enter those calls, it's already up 50 cents a contract. Holy moly. What a bounce there on the market. Wow. Another down day for Meta. Meta just can't get out of its way right now. You have to wonder if Meta is going to bounce on Nvidia's earnings. You know, with pretty much all the mag names announcing higher capex spending, it's going to be interesting to see. I think that's one of the proponents why Nvidia's earnings are so high. You know, an 8 billion increase from last quarter. So we'll see. Nvidia might be relishing the moment with this higher capex. All right, we're seeing a nice bid in Rocket Labs, guys. RKLB starting to move. Trade desk trying to move. Rare earths are seeing some liquidity. Interesting to see some of these nat gas equities under a bit of pressure. That's just the sheer selling from your XLE crude oil is overwhelmingly down on the session, down 2.4. Bitcoin still down 1.5, but bouncing sharply. Nice bounce. Look at those 662 calls on SPY. Just tapped there in the money. Still watching Plug Power. No real trade there for me yet. Still got a mixed bag of tricks here in the market. Nvidia though acting well. Nokia getting slapped down 8%, guys. Target is slightly green. Tesla's green. Big Bear AI slightly negative. MP acting well. BMNR down a couple percent. IREN's ripping up 3%. Interesting. AGIO, I don't even know what stock that is. That's down 49.5%. Crazy. What a ripper on SPY off of that gap fill. OnDAS is negative. Open Doors seeing some distribution. Google up almost 4%. Geez, the Buffett effect is strong, hey guys? People just chasing Buffett. Palantir just turned green. Wow. Could be a bit of a trender today, guys. Could be a bit of a trender. That would not surprise me. You can see pre-market high on SPYs at 663.38. Market is trying to rally here through your mega cap tech again. QQQ leading the charge to the upside. Nvidia up 2, Google up 4. Crazy session here. Plug Power still underwhelmingly down on the session. Your VIX is getting faded, guys. It looks like this market wants to trend here. Still very early on. Yields are down. Dollar's still strong, but trying to catch a little bit of downside liquidity. Meta is still a dog down here, down 1.42%. Jeez, just cannot catch a bid to save its life. Bitcoin has some top wick distribution forming. Snapchat getting hit pretty hard, down almost 2% with the weakness in Meta. Bitfarms is still struggling. Well, it was looking so promising in the pre-market. BITF is down a little bit. XYZ negative. Rigetti's trying to break out to a high of day, guys. Rigetti's showing some nice positive structure, breaking out of a bull flag above its prior day high. Looking pretty constructive for Rigetti. So quantum stocks are acting well. Datavolt down 8%. MSTR getting faded again despite Bitcoin trying to firm up off of the lows. VIX is negative, Tesla's still green, Netflix down almost 2.5%, Meta down 1.6%, Google still flying, Apple slightly green, Nvidia still flying, Amazon, Microsoft struggling a little bit. QQQ still outperforming on the intraday time frame session. All right, we could be ready for the next potential move here in the market, guys. There is an inverse head and shoulders setting up on your SPY chart, guys. 10-minute inverse head and shoulders. If we break out of this pattern here, we have a nice potential trend into the Nvidia earnings. That could set us up for a move to 674-ish on SPY. We'll have to wait and see what happens here, but SPY is trying to trend here. 674 potential upside target on your SPY. You can see that yesterday we put in that nice 4-hour bottoming tail on SPX. Got a little bit of a retrace. Now you're getting a buy program. SPY's looking somewhat decent here. Bitcoin's still down 1.5. It's trying to firm up. Definitely trying. A little bit more red or green on the screen and some individual names. Still a lot of mixed stocks. You're getting some massive divergence in your NASDAQ tech stocks with Google and Nvidia kind of sucking up liquidity right now. Tesla losing some of its gains. Micron turning back to the green side. Ethereum still down 2.5. Meta's trying to bounce just a touch here. Open Door still down 6.38. Baba getting faded slightly. Looking strong here, guys. Going for that opening range high breakout, pre-market high incoming test. Your IWM is lagging the market right now, but likely going to catch a boost if your S&P remains firm. And see the IWM is still trying to bounce here intraday. SPX still looking pretty decent down here. Daily chart SPX is bouncing hard. Meta's trying to firm up. So we just tapped that pre-market high on SPY there. Some slight rejection. Gold still up 1.12. Natural gas still up 3.36. The market is still strong here, guys. I think at least we get a retest of this neckline. People will try to chase the breakout. They'll probably give us a small pullback, and then I'm expecting a continuation move. I think SPY can hit 666 today, if not 667. We look at the key levels that the market wants to probably retest is this neckline on SPX. If we look at the daily chart on SPY, there's two real key levels on SPY. First is that obviously head and shoulders neckline, and then the bigger level is your trend line going all the way back here to June, that yellow trend line. So there's really two key areas of resistance. So on SPY, the resistance lies, first resistance is this 665, your neckline, previous head and shoulders neckline, prior day high, and then if you get through that, your 667 big retest zone. Dollar is still acting very, very strong here. Wow. See, it's a battleground for SPY right at this volume shelf, point of control. Certainly trying. I was up testing the $300 area on Google. Holy moly. Google at 300, up 5.3%. Insane. Nvidia up 2.45. Very strong move for the behemoth. VIX is popping, so your VIX is getting sold into here, guys. Quantum stocks are still acting pretty decent here. Nice bounce and continuation on your S&P. Unity Software, seeing a little bit of sell side pressure. Target, wow, Target made a huge bullish reversal, guys. Crazy move there. Lowe's still kind of just backing and filling a little bit. Bitfarms unfortunately getting slightly rejected here. Intraday. Google seeing a little bit of selling now off that 300 area. Google's actually a bit of a scalp short opportunity up here, guys. This is a retest of its earnings pre-market high. Google is into a scalping short area here, guys. What a beast Google is. All right, I'm going to take a stab on the short side of Google here, guys. Short Google 300.9, 300.9. Half position, short Google. Common shares. This is high risk. Just common shares for myself. Half position, short Google for me. I would add to the position around 301.90, $1 higher. So again, I'm just short Google common shares. I think Google's going to see a little bit of sell side, and that capital is probably going to rotate into some of your other stocks. You know, Google's a communication basket stock, so, you know, maybe Meta catches some of the Google liquidity if it stops here. Snapchat, maybe. Google's still ripping. Take my second entry at a pierce of this 301.90 area. We are ripping here on Google. Absolutely flying. Three. 301.90 on Google. All right, so I have a full position now. So my average on Google's 301.40, guys. 301.40 average on Google, 100 shares short. 301.40, 100 shares short. I'm looking at about a $2.50 decline move, kind of into this 298 area. I would consider covering a position. That's about looking for about 250 bucks on this trade. I think we can get that. S&P still trying to break out though. We'll see what happens here. Bitcoin's still chopping around. All right, your S&P is ripping here, guys. Absolutely flying. Snapchat's trying to make a bullish reversal. Bitfarm's still weak. S&P's into your first real resistance area here, guys. It's pretty decent. Although it's trying to break out of this inverse, don't be surprised if you get a minor pullback. Prior day, I don't know if it's going to break out right away. It's looking so strong right now, but you would favor a minor pullback as breakout buyers try to sell it here. Let's go Google. Snapchat's making a nice reversal. A very strong 10-minute engulfing candle in Snapchat. Bitfarm still struggling. Come on, Google. Here we go. Let that liquidity rotate into other places, Google. Anonymous asking Amazon for a bounce. Let me take a quick peek at Amazon. Yeah, it's looking pretty decently oversold here intraday. Not a bad area on your daily chart. Yep, it's a decent area for Amazon. Point of control, volume shelf, sweeping prior day low. Look at this S&P, guys. That is crazy. They are ripping this market back to the high side. Exceptional price action here in Spyland. Wonderful price action. Wow, SPY is a machine right now, guys. Look at that breakout. Now we have this target on watch 674 TP. We are seeing stocks rip. Meta trying to make a little bit of a reversal now. Meta is starting to get going. Snapchat getting going. Bitcoin, the dollar, everything's rallying here. The dollar, gold, nat gas, SPY, Qs, IWM. Amazon still down 1%. Come on down, Googly. SVIX, ripping, Rigetti, Rocket Labs trying to show some strength. We are still short Google. I'm looking for a trim here, guys. 298, 90 area. Come on down, Googly Moogly. Come on down. Nvidia absolutely ripping. No, I wouldn't short SPY. Absolutely not. You know, you might get a minor pullback to this neckline. So if you're going to do it, be quick, but I wouldn't short it today. It looks like we're going to trend. This is a breakout candle. And you just made a 5-minute higher high. So the structure of the intraday trend is turning bullish yet again. I mean, you look at the mega cap text right now, you got Google up 5, Apple up 1.3, Nvidia up 3.2, Microsoft just turned green, Tesla's ripping. Next is Meta to turn green, Amazon to turn green, and then this market's going to trend. Yeah, we're both on the same side. I am shorting Google, it's just some common shares. You know, that one I could see. I'm just looking for a scalp here. I'll get out of the full position if we retest this sub 300 area. I'll cover the full position. We're up slightly a little bit. I mean, it's bouncing now with the strength in the market. But you got the VIX being crushed. You got nuclear stocks rallying. You got Rocket Labs flying. Rigetti's flying. Snapchat's trying to go green. Meta, I think, could go green. Bitcoin's trying to break out of a flag pattern. It's crazy to think, though, this market is rallying. Look at this Dixie, guys. Your US dollar is flying. Holy moly. I'm so surprised this market's broken out with the dollar ripping to the upside here. That is just filthy. Filthy, filthy, filthy. That is crazy. Wow. Serve having a good day. INVZ trying to move. Vistra having a good day. Google still ripping here. SPY still ripping. Starbucks green. Chipotle's gone green. PayPal still lagging a little bit. Open Door still lagging. Baba's green. Micron, Western Digital. Go figure, those are green. They're always green. QBTS up nicely. MSTR still lagging a bit here. Push here. Crazy. Anonymous entered Amazon weeklies for 198 a con. Nice, nice. Market is still roaring here. SPY up 0.9. QQQ already up 1.4% ahead of the big boy Nvidia earnings. Market is trying to trend. Google just made a new high there. Bitcoin trying to break out of a little bit of a flag pattern here, guys. Retesting pre-market high. BTC is looking like it could be playing catch up here. It's still down 1.21%, but it's trying here. Nice flag pattern. If Bitcoin can break this, it's got some serious momentum. Does have a lot of potential momentum on BTC. You're trying to break out here. Keep BTC on watch. It's certainly trying. Interesting. Meta is still trying to firm up here, looking like a red to green reversal, guys. So Snapchat's probably going to try to follow suit here. Again, what I'm expecting is some of this Google liquidity to come flow into Meta and Snapchat and some other communication stocks. So I think Google takes a little bit of a dip and breather, and some of that communication liquidity should rotate into other XLC stocks. Wow, look at this dollar, guys. Holy moly. I'm so surprised. Look at the dollar rallying and gold still ripping higher here. GDX still ripping. I mean, holy moly. The only thing that's responded to a strong dollar is crude oil. That is just nasty. Google is still flying to the high side here. S&P trying to make a move. Yeah, the Dixie's going for that daily 200 moving average. It's getting close. 99.95, I have it. Yep, same as November 5th, you're right. Google's still flying to the high side here. Can't stop, won't stop. SPY continuously squeezing to the upside here. Ripping and roaring. Google's still a beast. Let's look at some of these quantum names. Rigetti still looking exceptionally full beast mode here on Rigetti. Rocket Labs trying to break out of a little bit of a basing formation here, guys. So that's looking pretty decent. You can see the SVIX is trying to trigger a bit of a bullish breakout formation. Looking pretty solid there. SVIX. Let's look at Apple real quick. Apple's looking beast mode. Nvidia still looking quite bullish. AMD lagging a little bit. Micron trying to curl to the upside. Again, semiconductors were weak yesterday, so there still could be. Wow, look at Broadcom. Holy moly, I didn't even see that today. That is a beast move. Taiwan Semiconductor. Wow. All right, your dollar just tapped the daily 200 moving average, guys. Let's see if we see any sort of sell side pressure in your US dollar. This is just crazy. Now Bitcoin's starting to get going, guys. BTC trying to break out. Keep your eye on some of these other stocks like IREN trying to break out. Cypher Mining could get going here. You could see Bitfarms start to move quite steady here. Mara could start to move. MSTR still under a lot of pressure. That could see a potential rally off the lows if Bitcoin can break out here. Anonymous is out of Amazon, booked 1K. Nicely done. Nicely done. Yeah, nice reversal there on Amazon. Google is still ripping, eating me up right now. It's okay. Should come in at some point. Google is still a beast right now. Flying to the high side. Google's still flying to the high side right now. Found out your company's being acquired, going to be out of a job. Oh no. No, Anonymous, that's not good. They are not keeping the employees. Are they giving you a pay package, compensation? They should be giving you something, right? Guys, look at Bitcoin roaring here. BTC is now starting to join the party. Look at that. BTC is starting to get going, guys. Keep your crypto stocks on watch because they are going to start joining the party. Bitcoin trying to break out and trigger a nice bullish inverse head and shoulders, guys. BTC 10, 15, 20-minute chart. Trying to break out to the high side here, target 94.9. Or sorry, 94.5 if we can hold this area. Yikes. So when the acquisition happens, the company's just letting go all the employees? They're restructuring? What are they doing? You don't have to share who it is. I mean, if you want to, you can, but don't they have to? Are they just liquidating the company? Spinning it off? Completely dissolving? I mean, when you get bought out, usually. S&P 500 was remaining. Oh, okay, so you're in the corporate side. Yeah. Yeah, that often happens for sure. It's kind of shitty. All right, we're still seeing the communication basket ripping here, guys. XLC roaring to the upside. Hey, come on, share some insider trading tactics. I won't tell. You have my vow of silence. Tell me who to buy calls or puts on. Again, Meta's now starting to join the party, guys. You still have Meta under a lot of pressure. Google's still absolutely soaring to the upside here. Ripping and roaring. I would add another 50 shares, probably around 305. If Google had an insane move to 305, I would add another 50 shares short. Right now I have a 100 shares short on Google, and we'll see if it comes in. But only if it hits 305, I would add another 50 shares. And it's just because it's a mega cap name that going a little bit bigger, you don't have to worry about buyouts. No one's coming to buy out Google. All right, so whatever you consider anonymous, we'll do the opposite. All right, SPY still acting well. Again, you have other communication stocks, guys, still trying to firm up. You think about Meta, if it turns positive, where the S&P could go. You think about Amazon, if it turns positive, where the S&P can go. You still have Nvidia absolutely ripping here into earnings. Apple is soaring to the upside. You know, Tesla is just absolutely mooning. You did make money. That's right. You did make money today. I'm happy about that. You got Bitcoin still holding steady. I think Bitfarms was interesting because this one was super strong in the pre-market and it got absolutely faded off of the highs there in the pre-market, and now it's still lagging a little bit. So maybe it wants to play catch up. You look at some of these other ones, IREN just ripping up 5.42%, breaking to the high side. You got Cypher, CIFR ripping to the high side right now. What else we got? Wolf ripping. Rigetti still ripping here, guys. RGTI. Stocks are rallying. Google is still in full beast mode. At some point it's going to give back some of these gains, but For now, the Buffett effect is strong. Snapchat trying to go green. Meta still into its gap window now, looking like it's trying to go green. Yeah, Elon was back there. A bunch of tech CEOs were in the White House yesterday for the dinner with the Saudi Arabian prince, or do they call him a prince? I guess they call him a prince. So Trump tries to impress, right? It's a big show of force, show of smarts, intelligence, innovation. So he had a lot of people there. And he secured a trillion dollars. A lot of people are thinking, how the heck can they secure $1 trillion from Saudi Arabia if their GDP is only just over $1 trillion? But it's one of those things that it gets spread out over years, financing deals. Nevertheless, it's a positive headline for the States, right? Selling 48, I think it's 48 fighter jets to Saudi Arabia, the nuclear deal. Then you saw the MP announcement this morning, Metamaterials. Look at this S&P, guys, ripping, absolutely flying to the high side, soaring and roaring. Let's look at this SPX daily chart because, this is why I wasn't getting too bared up too quickly. Because look at this, we're back above the head and shoulders neckline, just like that. The head and shoulders pattern that triggered yesterday is, and again, the market's not closed, but it's looking like it's getting negated. Oh, he's king? Thank you, Ram. Thank you. Yeah, it's so tough to keep up with all the different headlines. You got presidents, prime ministers, kings, queens, princes, sheiks, and so on. Czars. But thank you. But look at that, guys. SPX, absolutely a face-ripping rally. Bang, bang. This is why buying the dip on the larger time frame is still proving to be decent. Now, that being said, if this initial head and shoulders gets negated by a close above the neckline today, we simply have to now adjust the neckline to this head and shoulders, and then you got to see if we crack to the downside. But so far, SPX is looking fully bullish. I mean, we are well on our way to potentially another new all-time high, guys. That would not surprise me. Bitfarms is now ripping. Snapchat has turned green, making a bully reversal. I could still see Meta trying to go green. Amazon's climbing its way back here. Go, go, go. Look at Bitfarms. Bitfarms is now starting to join the party with Bitcoin ripping, guys. BTC ripping. Can we squeeze Bitfarms? Come on, squeeze it higher. Break us out here, Bitfarms. Look at BTC, guys. Absolutely breaking out with force here. Nasty little breakout upside target, which could play out today. Again, I think Bitcoin is putting in a little bit of a local bottom here. I think we're at least going to get to about 105 to 110. And then we'll have to reassess. There is a chance here that Bitcoin can head to 130, guys, and then have a big fall. I know a lot of people are calling for Bitcoin to go down to like 80, 65K, I've heard. I even saw someone say like 13, which is just ridiculous in my opinion. But come on, BTC, turn green on the session. A little bit of sell side pressure, guys. All right, so your SPY is tagging that upper boundary support. Resistance. This yellow trend line that we're tagging on SPY goes all the way back to this low pivot here in June. So there is some resistance here on your SPY. That's why we're seeing a little bit of profit taking. I would expect some consolidation. What you want to see is consolidation, maybe a pullback to prior day high, and then a continuation in the afternoon session. Okay, that's kind of what we want to see. The positive for the market is your dollar is starting to sell off from, what did we hit, guys? The daily 200 MA. We're seeing a little bit of sell side pressure. Now, what's different about the dollar hitting this level is the dollar bouncing from a higher low, and it's still looking pretty constructive, like it can push higher. But maybe for the intraday price action of the dollar, is going to be somewhat limited from here. Sorry, I missed the chat. Ladybug. Yeah, lithium stocks are crazy right now. SGML was ripping in the pre-market, already up. LAC is starting to get going. ALB was ripping when I last looked at it. So yeah, lithium stocks are soaring right now, guys. Absolutely moonshotting. Let's look at Oklo here. Oklo also showing some strength. Come on, Google. Come on in a little bit. Come on in a little bit. S&P still holding some technical structure, but running into a little bit of sell side. Bitcoin getting slapped and rejected back under its pre-market high. So no official breakout yet for BTC. That's a nasty little rejection on Bitcoin, guys. Google's starting to come in just a touch. Let's see if Bitcoin can make another run higher here. Nat gas is still soaring. Gold is still soaring. Google still up 6.2. Tesla up 2. SGML up 39.5. SoFi's green. Palantir's green. IREN up 5.83. Rocket Labs having a decent day today. RKLB trying to go for another high of day. Still trying to break out. Intraday. Rigetti's up 4% on the session. That's acting extremely well. Quantum stocks holding quite steady. LiDAR stocks are catching a bit of a bid. Seeing some of that high beta capital rotation into some of these high flyers. Lululemon having a decent day today, still just consolidating in a very, very tight range down here. Nvidia is still absolutely ripping. GDX strong, Merck strong. Wow, natural gas up almost 4%, going for a high pivot sweep almost. Wow. Natural gas is a beast right now. Holy moly. Craziness. Crazy. Come on, Google. What are you doing? Wow, BTC getting smoked, rejected. Nokia still down 7.6. Open Door still down 5.7. Ondas down 2. SGML getting slight faded. Amazon still down 0.7. Bitfarms negative. Google still up 6. Intel up 3.7. Big Berry Eye slightly green. Obviously, as I blew my portfolio on the downside from middle of October to the first week of November, it's weird I can't trade. The few things I did very small wasn't great. Frozen, not sure how you reset. Just sit back and watch. Don't trade for, a couple weeks. Let the market settle out. We're in a very choppy range right now in the market. And size down. I don't know what you're trading. You probably blew it on options, it sounds like. Usually portfolios aren't blowing with common shares, they're blowing in options. So maybe reassess. What's your strategy? What's your edge? What trading strategy are you using? Are you just buying dips blind or shorting pops blind? You got to have a little bit of a technical strategy. And if it's options accounts and you're blowing your account, you're probably taking too short dated contracts. Time is your best friend. I know we're all instant gratification and we want these gains to be reflected, right away. But that's where the market makers know, right? The market makers absolutely know that retail is not patient. Like Warren Buffett says, right? The stock market is a tool to transfer wealth from the impatient to the patient. Yeah, options most people lose, guys, because it's short dated. You look at the volume on short dated contracts, we're all wanting to trade 0 DTEs, we're all wanting to trade weeklies or 1 DTEs, and most people lose on that. I've lost a lot of money on short dated contracts, and I'm gonna lose more money on it, no question. Options are a tough market, guys. You add that extra time variable in, and it's a different ball game. Different ball game. All right, a little bit of selling off your 10-minute EMA 113 on SPY. Bitcoin absolutely slapped, guys. BTC was looking like it was showing a sign of force. Look at that epic failed breakout. I mean, that's nasty. That is just real dirty. That is just filthy. And again, what slapped Bitcoin right back down was your dollar. Dollar bouncing, Bitcoin dropping. What's really fascinating, guys, is gold is not really reacting. I mean, it's starting to react a little bit to the strong dollar, but still showing some resiliency. Nasty price action, therefore. All right, come on, Google. Give back some of these gains. I'd like to take a trim on these commons. Yeah, the down market's tough. When the market sells, right, it sells hard. There's still quite a bit of weakness in this tape. I lost a couple grand trading short-dated options contracts on that SPY dip. I still believe the market's going to have a nice bounce, but it's tough. That's why you never want to go in with your full port. XRP down, going to 190, ETH 2. Yeah, crypto is getting slapped here again. Crypto is getting slapped here again. All right, Google's starting to come in a little bit. Dollar's still climbing higher, guys. DXY. Google starting to soften up here. Bitcoin getting slapped right back down. Amazon back down. Getting a little bit more distribution hitting the tape here. Bitcoin down 2%. Crude oil down 2.4. Interestingly, crude oil inventories should be coming out right now, actually. Let's see what crude oil inventories are doing. So crude oil inventories are out. Minus 3.42 million, a bigger than expected drawdown there on crude oil inventories. So that is a bullish print for crude inventories. Let's see how price action reacts. XOM could potentially be a big reversal if crude starts to firm up here. Again, we'll watch crude. I'm going to watch crude on my other screen here because it is catching a little bit of a bid here, guys. So crude oil inventories are coming in bullish. Oh my God, look at Bitcoin, guys. That is just downright dirty. They did people dirty on Bitcoin. Holy moly. All right, guys, crude oil inventories popping here. XOM and some energy names might be on watch for a bit of a long trade. You could get some tech rotation and it could chase XOM. I'm going to take some XOM calls. Looking at 117 calls, guys, on XOM as crude oil is spiking here. Yeah, crude is ripping here, guys. Looks like BTC was not ready to break out just yet. That's crazy. Yeah, BTC got smoked. BTC got smoked, guys. Looking at crude oil, WTI, it's trying to break out of its opening range here, guys. XOM is already trying to push here. Caleb asking where would a retracement be for SPY? It depends on what time frame you're looking for. But for a swing trading perspective, you know, we might not get a retracement. The market's looking strong right now, but from a day trading scalping perspective, you know, a retest of kind of these prior day high pivots. SPY's broken out of a bullish formation here, guys. So it's looking like it wants to press higher here, but you want to see it hold above prior day high, or at the very worst, kind of a retest of this neckline. Google's starting to come in just a little bit here. Bitcoin just getting slapped. The dollar still pressing for that $100 area, guys. It's only a few pennies away from tapping the psychological 100 area. On your DXY, yields have now turned green. Gold still up 1.2. Nat gas still up 3.45. Come on down, Google. Come on down. SPY starting to trickle a little bit lower here. Still ripping to the upside. Breaking out. Come on, crude. Get above prior day low. Gold doesn't know about the dollar? Yeah, I know. WTI is still surging here, guys. Again, it's a very bullish print technically for crude oil, showing a couple billion drawdown higher than what the market was expecting. I would not be surprised to see crude at least charge for that $60 area again. You've been putting in this very interesting pattern here. Crude's been very volatile, choppy, choppy, choppy. Typically when you buy the red candles on the lower boundary sell-offs in this range, you've been rewarded. So let's see if this fundamental inventory report can push crude higher here. So far, a little bit of initial move higher, but the question is, will it hold? Will it hold? Google still coming in, guys. S&P softening a little bit. So we are still seeing the dollar. The dollar just briefly did a tap. Nope, just missed $100 there. Came very close. Crude oil still down 2%. Bitcoin down 2.28. Dow is up 0.2. SPY lagging the Qs, but still strong, up 0.94. QQQ leading the charge, up 1.47%. IWM lagging a little bit, but still up 0.79%. Amazon lagging. It's down 1%. Microsoft just turned back to the red side with this little bit of a sell-off in SPY, basically flat on the session. Nvidia is still ripping up 3.3. Apple still ridiculously strong, up 1.46%. Google pulling back slightly from the highs, but still up 5.75%. Meta trying to turn green, but still down 0.83%. Tesla holding around that 2% barrier. All right. Come on down, Googly. Come on down, Googly. Again, what I think we're seeing in Google is maybe something very similar to this blow off top move where Google ended up getting faded a little bit here. So let's just see what type of a move this was until Google had a bounce. So that was about a 5-point decline, 1.86% from the high. So you can see Google could replicate that very similar move that we got here. And then for the following days, Google ended up melting a little bit lower before it carved out a base and broke out. But you fulfilled the bullish inverse head and shoulders move on Google for the time being. But still a very strong stock with Warren Buffett behind it. All right, Bitcoin is still melting, guys. Oh my goodness, Biddy. Someone save it. Someone save Bitcoin. It looks like it might want to try do a little bit of a sweep of that lower boundary candle yet again. Holy moly, Bitcoin is just a dog with fleas right now. No one wants to touch it. SPY starting to get a little bit heavier here. Buy really retesting prior day high. It's an aggressive buy point, guys, on your SPY. It's going to be a very aggressive point. Crude oil trying to break out, but still trading at $59. MSTR Euro. I know MSTR Euro is crazy. MSTR is just crazy as well. No one wants it right now. No one wants MSTR. Yep, right back to that high pivot. Come on down, Google. Come on down. Yep, traditionally when no one wants to buy, when no one wants to touch it, that's when you want to buy it. Contrarian play. Yeah, Merit dumped, MSTR dumping, Bitfarms dumping. All your crypto stocks are dumping right now. All right, crude oil trying to make another move here. Snapchat still trying to hold positive. Crude oil trying to make another push higher here. Serve Robotics having a good day. QBTS up 6.2, strong session for QBTS. XYZ guys, block, trying to make a little bit of a push here. Intraday, looks like XYZ might want to break out here again. It's off of its pre-market high, but acting quite well. It does have its investor conference. Let's look at crude here. Crudy still trying to break out here, guys. XOM still showing some strength here, acting quite well. Meta still getting sold into. Google coming in. Come on down, Google. Come on down. Again, I'll look to cover my whole short on Google, guys, around this Fibonacci area, maybe a Pierce of 299, kind of into this TP zone. Oh, it was 500? Yeah, that's not last year. November 20th, 2024, it was at 500? Crazy. Crazy! Ooh. So SPY trying to defend its prior day high here, guys. Big area. Like I said, it's an aggressive back test. This bullish inverse takes us to 674. Don't think that happens today. Obviously, it could happen tomorrow if Nvidia has a strong move. But look at this dollar. Holy moly, guys. Talk about a bullish freaking breakout on your DXY. My oh my, what a mover. What a day for the US dollar. What is happening in Japan land? JPY 10. No, JP, what is it? 10Y? That's it. JP 10Y. What is going on with the Japanese? Yeah, look at that. Japan losing control still. That's crazy. They're gonna have to do some sort of currency intervention, you would have to think. Come on, Google, just give me the next leg down. Don't tell gold. I know, gold is crazy. Gold is coming in now. Yep, starting to give up some of the gains. You can see the big area that gold retested. This little bit of a previous neckline zone. Someone tell Dom. Gold's coming in. Wow, BTC still breaking lower, guys. That's crazy. Bitcoin is just dumping here. Oh, Bitcoins. Again, this is technically an area that if you're an aggressive trader, you can buy. I would personally let it pierce it and kind of retest this 5-minute EMA, kind of by this neckline. But prior day high usually does get a bounce. We'll see if that's the case. Bitcoin going for tests for 90K. Holy moly, BTC really, really struggling here. Crude oil and energy are still acting well. Netflix getting ripped down 2.7. Natural gas still pumping. Gold still up 1%, but well off of the highs. S&P looking a little bit heavier. XOM tapping that 117 area. Dust. Yeah, let's look at dust real quick. Gold comes in. You expect gold miners to soften up here. Dust is trying to make a little bit of a move here off the lows. Still putting in a very interesting base. Yeah, gold miners are probably going to get rejected off that 7. Interesting. All right, your SPY's still looking a little bit heavier here. SPY. Google trying to hold steady. Again, I'd go for a bounce on SPY at this 5-minute EMA, guys. I'd look for a bounce there. So just shy of 664, I would take some 665 calls off of that EMA. Thoughts on NOG? Northern Oil and Gas. Yeah, it's making a nice little push here. Looks like it could potentially try to go positive if the market can hold up here, but not a bad area to try to take it on the long side. NOG. It's kind of holding a weekly double bottom. That's kind of your defined risk. If you lose that double bottom from April 7th to this November, early November, that would be your risk on the trade. But not a bad area for a swing trade. I haven't really looked into the company's fundamentals, but technically speaking, it's looking pretty good. And if it has exposure to oil and gas, it's looking pretty good. Looking at XOM here, guys, XOM continuing to climb, pushing past that 117 area that I called out. Crude oil, again, inventories bullish. Crude having initial positive reaction, still down 2% on the session, but XOM is trying to rip to the upside. Bitcoin is still just getting annihilated here. Holy moly, look at that failed breakout and implosion of price. It looks like BTC wants to try to sweep this low and really shake the tree yet again. Oh my gosh, BTC is just shaking people out in force. That is crazy. Bitcoin still falling. Dollars still holding unrelenting strength. Holy moly. SOM is starting to fly, guys. It is flying here. Crude oil inventories ripping up the price action in energy stocks. All right, SPY's coming into a potential long here, guys. This is an aggressive long area. Let me just throw up a fib retrace here. Ooh, sweeping that low pivot here. Interesting. Take some SPY calls here, 665, 0 DTEs. If we tap this EMA, I want to see us tap this orange moving average. They're trying to bounce it ahead here. Come on. Bitcoin's still dumping, dollar softening. Just went long SPY there. 665, 0 DTE call, SPY. Again, this is very aggressive and risky, guys. Easily knife us through here. All right, I'm going to cover my Google short here as well, guys. I'm going to cover my Google short. Just sub 300 here, 299.85 covered. Covered Google. It's melting pretty hard here. So this market could actually fall through this area with Google selling this sharply right now. Look at Google dumping. So nice profit on Google there. Let's see if we can get a minor bounce in the S&P. Bitcoin's still melting. Your dollar is selling a little bit here, so that should be helpful for the market. Let's look at the hourly chart of SPX. Yeah, 662.30 is more interesting. There's a nice point of control there. Forcing Bitcoin down, forcing gold down, still forcing crude to be under pressure. The markets are still selling a little bit here. SPY's still pretty heavy in this region. SPX starting to come in sharply. See decline so far in the S&P from those highs. SPX is coming into some hourly chart support. You can see SPX now back underneath that neckline, guys. So the bears are trying to take control again. They're trying to shake the bulls out. If we get a bounce back to prior day high, I'll look to trim half of my call options. Bitcoin's still struggling, trying to trigger a bit of a bearish breakdown on BTC. It's looking real nasty. Real nasty. Seeing us here. Uh-oh. It's getting dicey. It's getting real dicey here. Energy still holding steady. Bitcoin just getting slapped, now down over 3%. BTC is getting fumbled here. It's yet in the market. Yeah, Fed minutes in Nvidia today absolutely will be fun for sure. Google still falling pretty sharply, hitting that TP zone. Now Nvidia, Tesla, Meta still giving up the goods. They are selling your S&P 500 right now. Nastiness. Big zone for the SPX, piercing its volume shelf, but SPY still approaching its volume shelf. That's a nasty little wick forming on your SPX chart. They are selling this pop with force. They're still melting this market. Wow, Bitcoin is just free falling right now. BTC is free falling. All right, there's an aggressive area to add here at this point of control on SPY. I'm considering contracts to my position. See decline, guys. Everything is getting liquidated. So M is still trying to push above 117. Bitcoin's still back under 90K now for BTC, guys. They are selling Bitcoin pretty sharply. My SPY calls there. This is high risk. I added another 5 contracts. Yeah, they could easily take it lower, for sure. It's a bit of a bearish breakdown, fumbling price action. Still seeing some slight sell side pressure. Again, my average is $1.51. I'm down about 10 cents right now a contract. G stock XOM is still holding above 117 quite nicely. Bitcoin trying to recapture 90K. Google testing 298.70 area. Microsoft now down 1.12. Apple got faded from the highs. Pretty much all your mega cap tech took a pretty decent breather there, guys. Get XOM flying, guys. XOM looks bullish into its gap window, trying to close 10, 20, 30 minutes closing. If it can close on this hourly chart in its gap window, that sets up for a nice potential continuation move to the upside. SPX, SPY trying to bounce a little bit here. Still getting some sell side pressure in certain mega cap tech names. Google's trying to bounce a little bit. Meta's still very oversold down here. Nvidia trying to bounce off of 10-minute chart support. Come on, SPY, get your big butt up there. Trader586 asking what's the best ETF to trade BTC? BITI or BITO. I think those are kind of your standard ETFs. But I still think that you need a crypto portfolio, guys. I think that if you're a serious crypto trader, the ETFs are nice because, again, I keep some of my money on crypto exchanges. I use Kraken. That being said, if you're trading crypto, if you're a serious crypto trader, you need a crypto brokerage because often, from my experience, often when the market is closed, you can't get the best entries and exits in the ETFs. Although they can work out, and I do use them. If you're a serious crypto trader, I do most of my trading in my crypto on the crypto platforms because you can get the exits on the weekends, the Saturday, the Sundays, and you'd be surprised at how big moves happen on Sundays. Sundays are crazy for crypto, the day ahead of the market open. So if you're serious, definitely have a crypto brokerage. Don't put all your capital there, but definitely I think it's wise to have one. Yeah, IBIT's another one. IBIT, that is another one for sure. I do use that one as well. I forgot about it. You're still trying to create higher lows intraday and higher highs intraday. So that is short-term bullish, but obviously this little bit of a fade, this breakout fade is not really what you want to see. You want to see the S&P recapture its prior day high, which is 665.12. So, but intraday price action is still trying to create higher highs, higher lows. So that's a short-term positive, guys. Very short-term positive. Again, looking at XOM, it's still trying to hold some bullish structure, coming in a little bit here. Google, again, that's pulled off from the highs quite sharply. Apple's pulled in from the highs quite sharply. Tesla getting slightly rejected here. Nvidia getting slightly rejected here. Interesting. Markets are still a little bit vulnerable here. You can see small caps are into an interesting support level as well. Small caps are hitting a little bit of an upsloping trend line. So trying to crack through this support level yet again. S&P getting sold into again. Wow. Nasty decline here in the market. They are selling us pretty hard yet again. Bitcoin getting smoked. Dollar still strong. VIX is trying to climb a little bit. Jensen Huang is talking right now. Elon and Jensen are speaking. Still seeing the S&P trying to hold that point of control. XOM still holding structure. Bitcoin trying to bounce. Dollar still so strong. Still under a lot of pressure here. Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Google getting slightly faded, Nvidia seeing some distribution, Apple pulling back. Still a big area here for the market. Hourly chart 7 moving average is being pierced here on SPX. The weekly bears are trying to push this market lower yet again on your SPX. XOM pushing. Yeah, you're buying Trader 586 buying energy. I'm already in 117 XOM calls. I sent out the alert basically down here before the inventory, right after the inventory report, 10:30, before the pop. So I like that trade. Crude oil energy is breaking out here. So I definitely support that. S&P still vulnerable here. CL is rocking. Yep, CL is rocking for sure. So, XOM is moving quite nicely. Another high breakout. Look at that XOM. Imagine it goes green today, guys. That'd be crazy for our calls. We can only get this S&P to firm up here. Dollar still above 100 like a rock star. Gold is getting wrecked right now from the highs. Still up 0.5%, but pulling in hard here. Nasty sell. Basically, gold and S&P kind of pretty much topped at the exact same point here. Nastiness. It's crazy. Still no bounce yet in the market. Bitcoin's still struggling at that 90K. Still coming in pretty sharply, guys. Look at that Google decline. That's nasty. Left a little bit of meat on the bone, but nevertheless, still made some money on the Google short. Look at XOM fly, guys. Flying. Ripping. Boom. XOM could try to go green, guys. XOM could try to go green. Crude oil moving. Yeah, everything getting shit on right now for sure. It's a nasty decline yet again in the tape. Ah, new high of day for XOM. Markets are trying to show a little bit of life here. Again, my first profit target is back to the high of this wedge. If we can get there. Bitcoin trying to hold 90K. Bouncing a little bit here. China stocks have gone red pretty much across the board. And I see Ethereum now down 5%. Wow. Dollar just won't stop. Nat gas still holding the majority of its gains. Crude oil, WTI, still down 1.84. S&P bounce a little bit here, you know you want to. Bitcoin breaking down yet again as the dollar is still surging here, guys. Dixie printed a new high. Bitcoin sweeping the lows, trying to test that low pivot from Monday. That low pivot from Monday is sitting around, what is it, 89.256-ish? What time is the Fed minutes? 2 p.m. Come on, S&P, bounce here a little bit. Here we go. SPY's trying to perk up a little bit. Trying to perk up. Holding that hourly chart support for now. 9 minutes left in this hourly SPX candle. Bulls want to see it maintain above that 7 hourly moving average. Bears will try to push it down. Bitcoin's still super weak. Dollar's still super strong. S&P, firm up here. Seeing a minor bounce, trying to build out here. To do SPY. It's a big level for SPY. I mean, intraday, again, you still have a low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low. You got a high, higher, higher. So market is intraday still trying to hold a minor uptrend. So this next rotation up is going to be big for the market. You know, you don't really want to see it take out this low or this low. That would be very, very bearish. Bitcoin trying to get back above 90, dollar still ridiculously strong. Nvidia's bouncing. XOM still trying to bounce. SPY still getting rejected here. S&P trying to go lower. Nvidia is starting to sell off a little bit more. Dixie still surging. Still down 1.86. Microsoft still struggling. Amazon still struggling, but off the lows. Tesla still up 1.31, but selling a little bit. S&P almost going back to the flat side, giving up pretty much the majority of its gains. Not healthy price action to see so far. VIX just turned slightly green there, UVXY. XOM still trying to push. Bitcoin still under 90K, dollar still soaring. Yields have gone negative again, so bonds are quietly being bought up a little bit. Yeah, I'm still in my calls. I'm getting a little wrecked right now, but holding through some pain. And they keep chopping this market down. Dollar just won't stop right now. Your dollar is getting pretty extended intraday, a couple intraday divergences. Bitcoin still no bid in sight. XOM new high of day. It's literally the only reason I'm still holding on to my SPY calls because XOM is insulating me here. Look at the full round trip in gold as well, guys. Holy moly. Nastiness. GDX. Absolutely filthy. Crude oil. Still trying to push here to the upside. XOM still looking solid. So it's working out quite well. Come on, S&P. Nice bounce. Trying to firm up here. Take us back higher. Retest prior day high. Come on. Jesus, dollar. Natural gas now up 4%, guys. Crazy. There's a gap fill on the DXY, guys. Intraday gap around 101.16. Let me just isolate that down a little bit more. Yeah, 101.16, there's a DXY gap fill. Maybe that's where the Dixie wants to go. Jeez. Just rocketing higher here. Is being sold into. This is why the market's struggling, guys. Look at this chart. Dollar index ripping. The only thing I like about that is my UUP still printing. Let's see how correlated these markets are. If the dollar pulls back, let's see if SPY can get a little bit of a bid here. IWM is almost negative, guys. The Russell 2000 is almost traded to the dark side. That's crazy. That is crazy. trying to soften a little bit. XOM still trying to push. Let's go grab my charger, guys. Give me a sec. So getting slapped again. Bitcoin still trickling lower. Russell 2000 has basically gone negative again. Nasty. Nvidia selling off again. SPY still overwhelmingly depressed down here. Crazy. Lots of more red starting to appear on the screen. Lots more red. We are still getting liquidated. BTC looks like it's going to take out that low again. Right now. Bit of a failed breakout intraday. Hourly breakout has failed, sending Bitcoin to the deep dark depths below. Damn, this market could get ugly if Nvidia misses. This market will get really nasty. All hinging on the world's largest company. Gold almost negative, nat gas still strong. XOM is still showing some bullish structure. It's trying to push here intraday. But the market is just crazy weak right now. Looking at Google. Google continuously getting faded here. Nasty. SPY. Oh, wow. SPY's getting liquidated here. If SPY loses this low here, it's not a good sign, guys. Not a good sign at all. Look at BTC. 3% down move. Nastiness. Downright dirty. This market is dripping lower and lower. Nvidia is trying to defend its prior day high. So there is some support, but damn, we're nasty. It's in sight yet, guys. They're still drilling us. Crazy. It's trying to defend its prior day high. SPY's still trying to hold some higher lows. You lose this low here, guys, and we could be easily sent right back down to the lows. So, big zone. You do not want to lose this. Still getting wrecked on my SPY zeros. We'll see if we can climb back to at least break even. I still think these markets can bounce, but they're taking quite a long time to do so. What's happened there? You see a little bit of selling here, still ridiculously strong. Coming in on your 10-minute chart a little bit. We'll see if the markets can move inversely to that US dollar. Yeah, Peter, Meta's getting interesting down here. I mean, very interesting, but definitely struggling since it's higher capex spending. Getting pretty oversold. One could deem it's in a bear market since it's down 26% from its highs. Is its valuation getting a little bit better? I think so. Does it still have a lot of positives going for it? Yes, I think so as well. You can see the volume starting to thin out here. Nice declining volume, so the sellers are starting to abate, but definitely a nasty downtrend. I mean, you would favor a nice dead cat bounce here, but it's a hard sell on Meta for sure. Very, very hard sell. All right, big retest here for the markets. If it can get above that point of control, there might be some signs of life. XOM still trying to defend price action here. Your DXY guys still absolutely ripping. I'm still in 665 SPY calls, but still down pretty sharply. It's starting to fail here a little bit. We are seeing a little bit more positive momentum coming into the major indices. Come on, take us back to prior day high. Dollar seemingly putting in a little bit of an intraday top. Still very strong though. Bitcoin trying to recapture 90K. Microsoft still down 1%. Meta still down 1.71%. Still taking a bit of a dip here. I make sure I protect some of these XOM trades, guys, as crude oil is dipping again. So I'm actually going to trim half of my call position and put a break-even stop loss. Protect that. I've just trimmed half of my calls with stop loss break even as I'm seeing crude oil giving up the gains here. And honestly, this is actually healthier for the S&P 500, but not a nice an attempt at a breakout, getting slapped right back down. Yeah, see intraday. Um, yeah, definitely interesting for a long on Under Armour. Huge deviation band here. Lots of support down here for Under Armour. Parallel channel. I don't mind it down here, Peter. Again, you're trying to pick a bottom, so just give yourself time if you're buying options, because it could base here for a month or two. But in terms of a long-term buy, it's very, very solid level. Extremely oversold. Couple deviation move to the downside. Let's look at the monthly chart real quick. Yeah, it's a nasty, nasty decline. Yeah, retesting that monthly breakout zone. All right, SPY just got absolutely pummeled there, guys. That was just dirty. Nvidia breaking, market is breaking. That was filthy. Yeah, Lululemon acting well. Yeah, common shares are probably the safer bet. Lululemon's still basing as well. It's still just basing. Had an attempt at a breakout, got slapped right back down. Holding this kind of this earnings capitulation low. Basing, basing, basing. Nike trying to push still as well. Let's look at VFC. VFC as well. Gonna go grab some lunch, guys. I'll be right back. Still gonna watch the charts here. Again, it's gonna be all bearish. If we lose this pivot here, guys, it's gonna be fully bearish. As long as we remain above it, I still think we can bounce, but we lose this pivot and we're gonna probably go down to the lows. Keep your eye on the dollar. Obviously, Nvidia. Nvidia is giving up quite a bit of its gains. Mega cap tech selling off. The Russell's kind of flirting between positive and negative, but giving up the lion's share of its gains. just in a holding pattern ahead of NVIDIA. Maybe you get a small pop on Fed minutes, but NVIDIA is the big catalyst. People are not really doing too much buying here ahead of NVIDIA. And look at the dollar. I mean, the dollar is certainly showing that people are moving to cash. Strong, strong, strong. Guys, I'm going to come back for power hour. I'm going to keep the Telegram member stream going. I'll still be watching here, but I'm going to close the YouTube stream. I'll be back for power hour. Maybe I'll come back for Fed minutes as well. I just got to record another video here.